Good morning, everybody. Today, our grammar lesson is about the past perfect tense. Firstly, in making a past perfect statement, we follow the pattern or the form. We put the subject plus had plus the main verb in the past participle. What is the use of the past perfect? We use the past perfect to talk about things that had happened before another action in the past. Examples about the past perfect. She had been my friend before she transferred to another school. Here we have two actions that happened in the past. In this sentence, there are two events that happened in the past. The first one had been my friend. The second one, she transferred to another school. So, if we illustrate the tenses, so we have the present and we have two actions that happened in the past. The first one, she was my friend, so this is the past perfect, and the second one, she transferred to another school. So, but since we talk about events that happened before another event, then we talk about this, so this is now our past perfect. That's why we resulted to this sentence. So she was my friend, it will be she had been my friend, because this is the first action that happened in the past. And the second one, she transferred to another school. The word before indicates that something happened before another. Been is the past participle of the verb was. So was or were, the past participle from them is been. Another example, Grandpa had lived in this house before he decided to sell it. Here we have two events. The first one, had lived, and the second one, he decided to sell it. Grandpa lived in this house. This is the first action. He decided to sell it. This is the second action. So the past perfect here will be Grandpa lived in this house. And the past simple will be he decided to sell it. The other example here we have, by the time his mom arrived home, he had already fallen asleep. So in this sentence, although the event that his mom arrived home comes first, so it's understandable that he fell asleep first and his mom arrived home after. Another example, I had a baby before I entered college. Here we have two actions. The first action is had, and this is the past perfect. And the second one, the past simple, I entered college. You may be wondering why there are two hads in the sentence. So let's try to break this sentence down again. Break it down again. We have a present and we have two actions that happened in the past. The first past is the past perfect. And the second one is the past simple. I had a baby, so this is the past perfect. Or it will be the past perfect. And the second one, I entered the college, this is the past simple. But here, had here is the main verb, and its past participle is still the same had also. So when we change it into past perfect, it will become I had a baby. So had is the past perfect of had. I had a baby. The first had is helping verb for the past perfect, and the second had is the main verb. The main verb had. The negative form of the past perfect, had, it will be hadn't or had not. Hadn't or had not. For example, she had. We put the subject plus hadn't plus verb in the past participle. For example, she had been my friend before she transferred to another school. It will be she hadn't been my friend before she transferred to another school. The other example, Grandpa had lived in this house before he decided to sell it. The negative form, Grandpa hadn't lived in this house before he decided to sell it. The question, what is the form of the question in the past perfect? By using a had plus the subject plus verb in the past participle. For example, she had been my friend before she transferred to another school. The question, had she been my friend before she transferred to another school? Another example, Grandpa had lived in this house before he decided to sell it. The question, had Grandpa lived in this house before he decided to sell it? So this is the first exercise for us. Join the two past simple sentence and make positive and negative statements and questions in the past perfect. The first example here, Matthew studied music. He became famous. So the first action is Matthew studied music, and the second one, he became famous. Let's put it in the positive form of the past perfect by using the keyword before. I say Matthew had studied music before he became famous. This is the positive form. What about the negative form of that statement? by using before. Matthew hadn't studied music before he became famous. What about the question form of that statement by using before? Had Matthew studied music before he became famous? The next one, our teacher was angry. The principal pacified her. The first action was angry, and the second one, pacified her. So, the first one, it will be past perfect, and the second one, it will be past simple. Let's put it in the positive form. Our teacher had been angry before the principal pacified her. The negative, it will be our teacher hadn't been angry before the principal pacified her. The question, had our teacher been angry before the principal pacified her? Another exercise for us. The meeting was already finished by the time we arrived. What is the positive form of that statement? I'll say, the meeting had been finished by the time we arrived. So, what is the negative form of that statement? The meeting hadn't been finished by the time we arrived. What about the question form? Had the meeting been finished by the time we arrived? The question form. The next example, the wind blew the papers away. He got them. What is the positive form? The positive form. The wind had blown the papers away before he got them. What about the negative? The negative form. What about the negative form? The wind hadn't blown the papers away before he got them. What about the questions? Had the wind blown the papers away before he got them? The last example here, Uncle Mike was gone. I was born. I was born. The positive form, it will be, Uncle Mike had been gone before he was born. The negative form, it will be, Uncle Mike hadn't been gone before he was born. The question form, had Uncle Mike gone before I was born?